Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Denzil Eden. She is a founder of Smarty AI, and she is helping people focus and plan perfect days with artificial intelligence. Welcome to the show, Denzil.
Thank you, KAJ, for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to discuss about. As I said, we plan help people find focus and plan perfect days with artificial intelligence. And that's what we are going to talk about, how one can do that. So my first question is, Denzil, is to understand this way. You talk about, that whenever you have the time, you play the piano, authors, fiction and op-eds, and sip teas. Let's look at a situation like this where music is being made by artificial intelligence. No piano, you can hear the same music through artificial intelligence. Books created by artificial intelligence, and even tea. It is not very far of an AI becomes sentient. So you have teas, so many flavors, but without having it. How do you? It sounds dystopian, but many people have warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence. I want you to look at that part of artificial intelligence, which people are a bit apprehensive about, and looking at the artificial intelligence that you plan to bring in people's life. I want you to help us understand what we should think about artificial being at the special time in our lives.
Definitely. We are at a very transformative time for AI. AI, at the end of the day, though, is just a tool. It is something that we are using to augment all of the different industries that we are exposed to, including all of the ones you've just mentioned. So AI is able to use past written musical compositions and create new ones based off that past data. We can see that AI is able to create new types of books and articles and posts based off old data that it has around what has been written in the past. And the same thing is true with tea as well. Farming and other industries are quickly being augmented and improved by what AI can provide as a power, because it can look at past data and provide recommendations for future technology evolutions. The way that I like to think about AI is that there are three main pillars here. One, the three main pillars for AI are that it is predictable, it's proactive, and it's personalized. So what do I mean by predictable? So AI can take past data and make recommendations. It can predict different possibilities or outcomes to you, the user, or to software that it's trying to help out. Second, it's proactive. It can actually automate the next steps here. It can help take past data, take current recommendations and predicted recommendations, and then be proactive in terms of accomplishing those outcomes through automation. And the third thing is AI can be personalized. It can take very specific data to you or very specific data to farming and provide these very specific recommendations that are nuanced to the user, and then take next steps based off what is best for the user. And so that's what we're trying to do at Smarty. So Smarty is the startup that I've started. We are trying to be this AI-powered, natural language, conversational productivity planner. The way that we work today is we have three main value propositions. One, we allow you as the user to brain dump all of your tasks, all of your events, all of your software needs into one platform. And based off that, Smarty will predict what you're going to do next. It's going to be proactive in terms of providing those recommendations to you around how you can best plan your day. And then it tries to be personalized and able in its ability to automate the next steps around what you're trying to do. So in Smarty, you can put in all of your deadlines. Smarty will use AI to automatically decide when you should do what task, decide when you should do which events. If something comes up and you have to reschedule, Smarty will completely reschedule your calendar based off a distraction or a new urgent occurrence. You also can speak with Smarty via typing with natural language commands. So you can say something like coffee with Ajay in India, in New Delhi at 3 p.m. Central Time, which is Chicago time, and Smarty will handle the time zones, will send a calendar invite to both of us with the correct location, with the correct time. And that's just in calendar management, but Smarty is also in task management, contact management, and we're adding email this month. So really this idea of providing a tool that can be personalized to you, can be proactive on your behalf, and predict what are best steps for you. So that's what we're doing at Smarty.
Right, right. Talking of Smarty, let's understand it a bit. You call it one app to replace them all. So how many apps will it replace when we are talking about Smarty AI?
So I think today in the internet, every application is coming out with an API. So an API is a almost like a language that software uses to talk to other pieces of software. And so I think more and more products today are coming out with just an API and not even a UI or a front end or a web app or a mobile app. It's just an API that they're monetizing. I think that is just going to continue to trend more in the future. And what we're trying to do at Smarty is we're trying to create our own API, our own platform where we can integrate with a lot of different software. And so today we're only integrated with G Suite, but we're soon going to be adding Asana, Notion, other productivity apps. And our ultimate vision is to be able to connect with anything online and continue to provide these conversational commands so that you can say something like, I need flights to New Delhi on April 18th, and Smarty can just book that for you using a flight booking API, which exists today. So that is the ultimate vision for Smarty, that we want to integrate with all of these different software platforms online and then provide natural language commands for how you interact with them. But today we're just in the administrative suite. We're trying to be a future of work tool. So we're just in anything that connects to your email, contacts, calendar, tasks.
Right, right, Denzil. Let me understand it a bit from a very common man's perspective. How should a common person understand it? Who is your ideal target audience for this particular app, if you may call it? Is it the common person? Is it the working person? Who is it? Because a lot of apps, everybody is finding so many apps, handling so many apps a bit difficult. Is it the answer, or is it who is your competitor also? I would like to understand from that point of view also.
Sure. Yeah. So, starting with first, who is our ideal target customer? So today there's a new space expanding rapidly for professional consumers. So we're trying to create tools for folks who are professionals but are trying to find work-life balance and are trying to manage both their professional commitments as well as their personal commitments. And so that is our ideal target customer. It's very broad. So who we're starting with first are teams of one. So small business owners, freelancers, founders, folks who don't have a staff of administrators or a support team where they're doing it alone and they need a digital extension of themselves. So that is our ideal immediate target customer, just teams of one. And if you're asking for what is the larger space here around future of work tools, so if you've heard of tools like Calendly or Superhuman or Todoist. So Todoist is a huge behemoth in the task management space. Superhuman is a huge behemoth in the email management space. Calendly is a huge company in the scheduling links space. So all of these companies are creating a future of work tool in a very specific niche. So Smarty is trying to have this feature set around task management, scheduling, link management, email management, but add these natural language commands on top of it and provide AI recommendations as well. So we're starting with this all-in-one tool for a future of work. And then from there, we're hoping to expand out.
And are there any competitors for you, or you are the one who's started this particular trend of super apps?
Yeah, so there are definitely competitors in different spaces. So as I mentioned, those are like the larger competitors in those three spaces. But for someone who's trying to be a AI powerful calendar builder, there's a few tools around that. So Reclaim, Clockwise, Motion. But we're also adding, so that's our big first value proposition, this idea of AI automatically building your calendar. There are a lot of competitors there. The second big value proposition around Smarty is adding these natural language commands. So being able to say coffee with Stella at Blue Bottle in San Francisco and having that calendar event made. So there are I don't know of another competitor in the space, and I would love to hear if there are ones. And then the last thing is that the way that we're trying to differentiate ourselves with tools that are already out there is we're trying to create this clean, minimal UI UX that is very intuitive for how you work and how your brain works. And so for that, I would also say there are people trying to create different solutions here and trying to understand what is the most intuitive UI UX. But I like to think we're pioneering in that way as well.
Right. Right, Denzil. Help us understand. In terms of artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, it has come its own now. If I may say, that Play Store or something like that, where you use that. I don't know about that much. I don't understand it. I try to see it is for the GPT-4 version and beyond that perhaps. So, what is the difference between that and yours, or is it the same thing going forward? Help us understand this part, and if yes, how would you compete with your you can say former employer who owns this particular thing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So ChatGPT, from its official launch to getting 1 million users, was only 5 days, which I think is very, very exciting and cool to see. I think ChatGPT has really told the masses that AI is a transformational tool and it's going to change how we live and work. So I'm very, very excited about what ChatGPT means for all of the future industries, including future of work. So at Smarty, as I mentioned, we were already trying to integrate with as many APIs as possible. So we were already using OpenAI's API way before the official ChatGPT launch. And so it is already integrated into Smarty. We are not a competitor. It's actually a tool that we use, just like every other company is trying to figure out how to integrate these large language models. So that's what ChatGPT is. It's a tool that has created a large language model that allows you to communicate with it, to ask questions in a natural language way. And so we're not competing with ChatGPT. We're not building our own large language model in any way. And what you meant by my previous employer owning it, Microsoft is an investor in OpenAI, and they are reaping the benefits and have already integrated OpenAI's ChatGPT with their own search engine. So it is a tool that is getting more and more integrated into different companies. I think every company knows that AI and large language models has a lot of potential, and they're trying to find ways to monetize that today. But I think that is the hardest thing for big tech companies today, is how do you monetize a tool like ChatGPT?
Right, Denzel. Now let's look at artificial intelligence itself. A lot. You are very young. This is the first. If this is the first, your company that you have founded, and you have already got so much of funding for that. Have raised $2.5 million, if I understand, for this, and I'm sure there will be more for you to come. In terms of this particular technology and the big tech people, a lot of people say using so much of technology or the products that big tech has, including the social media, then it is making people much more dumber. If I ask you the same question about Smarty AI, is it going to make users more dumber, or is it going to make them much more smarter with Smarty AI? Help us understand about this going forward.
Yeah, I have a very optimistic view of technology in general. I think what we use technology for today is really to automate rote tasks, to automate how we do mundane and menial tasks that we think computers can do better than us because they're much more logical, they're much more efficient and optimized. And I actually think that means that it frees up humans to do more creative tasks. So as you were saying, today AI can create music, AI can create books, but all of the things that AI is creating is based off past creations. It is not unique, it's not original. AI is limited to the data that it has access to. And the great thing about humans, something that has always been really remarkable about us as a species, is that we're always creating new things, original things, things that have never existed before. They might be based off past data, but they have their own unique flavor. And I think that is something that you can never take away from the human potential. And I believe that technology is not making us less competent. If anything, it's opening us up to do more exploration, to do more innovation, and to really take our current standards and push them and level them up.
Right, right. There have been many questions by even people who are very, even the godfather of artificial intelligence, Geoffrey Hinton, even Sam Altman, and many others, that there is a potential danger to AI. Even governments have gone for it. Elon Musk and so many others, they wanted a halt on this so that one could understand this particular thing for some time, and then we could take our next steps. as a very young founder who have got funding, who would want to create much more related to artificial intelligence, how do you understand their understanding of this part of artificial intelligence? Because what you will continue you to create going forward is going to all impact the world. You are from MIT, an MBA from Harvard, one of the distinct personalities, and I'm sure there will be a lot of great things from you to going forward. So your views will certainly give an understanding of how you view this part of the potential dangers of artificial intelligence.
I believe the governance of AI and its innovation is, of course, needed. There needs to be a very tight knit relationship between government, not just at a national level, but at a global level, as we regulate and govern how AI is developed and innovated. I actually went to a wonderful talk recently by the Washington Post. It's still live, so anyone can tune in, with the Washington Post and General Catalyst partner Hemant Taneja, who was discussing what do we need. And the thing is, AI can solve so many of our problems. It can solve our shortage of teachers. It can solve our shortage of doctors. And so we don't want to curtail how quickly AI is innovating or adapting or creating. We really want to encourage investment and funding here because AI has so much potential and we should be optimistic about that. But at the same time, tech companies that are creating this new technology need to be transparent around how they're creating it, what type of data they're using, so that we don't introduce systematic institutional biases and we allow the government to have a chance to regulate it, to govern it, to allow the global world to have some sort of control around how it's evolving and adapting so that we can make sure that it's going to have a positive impact and not a negative one. And so I think it is a really new space. We, of course, have to be very, very careful. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't curtail innovation based off fear, but we also should be transparent and be collaborating at a global scale.
Right, right, Denzil. Now let's come down to women in tech. It's a difficult thing for women, especially in the technology space, and especially in terms of getting funding. You have got funding. What is your view of this whole industry where women are trying to gain inroads, gain as much funding also as possible, gain their right position? What is your understanding of the position of women in technology space?
Yeah, so we're obviously not at 50-50. We're nowhere near that in VC, in tech, in the startup space especially. And so I think, you can't let the numbers hold you back. At the end of the day, you have to keep going. Being a founder is extremely difficult because there is no external validation. No one is ever going to tell you you are doing the right thing. No one knows what the right thing is, so they can't even tell you even if they knew. And so at the end of the day, you really have to find validation within yourself. You have to find validation in the data. And so for all of the female aspiring founders out there, I would say that you just need to keep showing up. If you're passionate about something, if you validated the idea, keep pursuing it. You shouldn't let anyone else tell you whether something is possible or not. And you definitely shouldn't let the numbers intimidate you, because everyone has the hand of cards that they have, and you just have to play them to the strongest way possible for you. And so it is something that I, as someone who's a little further ahead in my career, want to help and give back. So when I see an opportunity to help someone else, I'm always willing to do that. And so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you need help, if you need advice, I'm always happy to give you what I can and share my wisdom. But I am also looking for mentors of my own. And at the end of the day, you can just do your best, keep showing up, and not let anyone else intimidate you from pursuing your dreams.
Absolutely, absolutely. In terms of getting funding, are there any special tips that you would like to share? What has been the maximum? What do you think is the main reason for your success in securing this good amount of funding? How others are not able to get it? Is it about the pitch? Is it about the background? Is it about something else?
That's a great question. So I've obviously had some factors benefit me, including my background, including my network. But at the end of the day, it still took me a long time to raise money. And I think the number one thing that helped me was persistence. I kept showing up. I pitched to the same partner who ended up writing our first check for over 2 years. And so it is really about persistence and about showing up and iterating and taking feedback and not getting dejected when someone says no. A big part of fundraising and just pursuing anything new and innovative is being able to take rejection, take the feedback, work on it, iterate, and then show up again. And so the number one thing as a founder and as someone who's fundraising is that you have to just keep showing up. You have to be able to rapidly execute on the feedback you get. The second thing is to get feedback, to seek those no's, find people who are going to give you constructive criticism and learn from them so that you can get better. And then I think the third thing is to try to find people who see your value. So not all money is good, not all investment is good. You need to find someone who is going to be your partner when you're fundraising, someone who believes in your idea, believes in you, especially the earlier you are. It's more about finding someone who's willing to take a bet on you and who believes in what you're trying to build. So those would be my 3 pieces of advice.
Wonderful, wonderful. One last question, Denzil, is to, people have this understanding that a lot of technology in their lives can disrupt their lives rather than making it, earlier on, people thought phone use is very good, but then your employers can reach to you anytime. They can leave you with you any message at any point in time. Even with emails, it has become so. Countries have come forward to tell them don't email after a particular time. In terms of technology, you talk about having your best day every day with Smarty AI. You talk about creating work-life balance, but more technology has led to this great resignation and all the other things. How do you think people should understand technology in terms of creating the right work-life balance? Is it that they are using it the wrong way, or is it there is some other problem? How do we make the best use of technology to make the best day that is possible with either being very normal? What is a normal day? What is a great day? What is the greatest work-life balance that one can achieve with technology, or it has to happen only without technology? Help us with this part.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question because I think a lot of people are struggling with all of the notifications that they get, all of the applications that they have on their phone, all of the ways that people can reach and access them. I think that's true for any sort of new technology. Whenever something new is shown up in the world, there is a learning curve around what is the right balance, what is the right way to create best practices. And that was true with the Industrial Revolution too, how we worked in factories, how we found work-life balance at that point. I think anytime every time you introduce a new technology, there is a transitional period where people are trying to figure out what is the best way to work with this technology. And I think we went through one of those since the creation of the iPhone and all the applications to where we are today. And I think you're seeing in the newest generation that's entering the workforce, as well as in older generations, that people are feeling overwhelmed with all of the different commitments that they have in the digital space, all of the notifications, all of the ways that people can reach them at work and at home, in their professional and in their personal lives. And that's really why I started creating Smarty as well. I felt overwhelmed with all of my academic commitments, all of my personal commitments, all of my personal and professional interests. And I started creating Smarty as a chatbot for myself because I knew that technology could automate and delegate a lot of the administrative work I was doing. And so I wanted to build that for myself. And today we've finally gotten to a point where we can really help our users try to understand what is the best day for them. And so what do I mean by that? Like, I think that's such a great question. Like, what is your perfect day? What is the best day you can have? And it's really about managing your energy and managing the tasks that you have to do in a way that you feel energized throughout the day. And so something that I actually recommend, and I hear a lot from productivity coaches and executive coaches, is this idea that every day you have to do tasks that drain your energy and you have to do things that increase your energy so that throughout the day, you are finding that your energy levels are maintained at a stable, sustainable, happy spot. And so you have to first understand that about yourself. You have to understand that, like, if you're responding to an email every 30 minutes, you find that your focus has wavered. Don't do that. Set aside 30 minutes at the beginning of the day or 30 minutes at the end of the day to work through all of your emails instead of context switching throughout the day. If you find that working on a project proposal energizes you and you're excited about the work that you're doing, try to put that at the beginning of the day so that you start your day at the best note possible. So it's really about understanding yourself and then trying to craft your day in a way where you can alternate between the activities that energize you and the activities that drain you. And so that's what Smarty really is trying to do for you. You can specify projects that bring you energy. You can specify deadlines. You can specify what projects you want to put off. And Smarty will help build that schedule for you that allows you to have the best day every day.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You have answered all these questions very, very well. And I'm sure this is an expanding field. So a lot of people will want to understand more about it, more about you, also will want to engage with you professionally. So what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, you can try Smarty at www.smarty.ai, and then you can connect with me at Denzil Eden at LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter with that same handle, as well as Instagram and TikTok. So I'm looking forward to connecting with all of the aspiring founders and young professionals out there, and feel free to reach out.
Wonderful. Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.